Hello and welcome to a DFS preview for the 2023 RBC Canadian Open. My name is Eric, and here at SweetSpotDFS, it's all about trying to hit the optimal lineup every single week. And in these preview videos, I go over the stats you want to build your lineups around. And I do that through the bucket system, which if you're unfamiliar with that, check the description of this video. I have a link there. They'll send you to a video that explains all about it. It's not just the bucket system I'll be talking about in this video. I'll also be going over the course and tournament information, see if you can get an edge on what type of shot shape is more beneficial at this golf course, or just really the research or the data points you can use to research. I'll also go over the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups, just to show you what kind of salary structures work at this event. I'll go over a review of the Memorial Tournament, just to show you how well the sweet spot process did last week. And if you've been keeping track of this and all the other review videos I've been doing, sweet spot process is over 90% correct. It's over like 95% correct. We'll see if that trend continues by reviewing the Memorial. And then all of that is just to give you a little more confidence into talking about the bucket system that I'll conclude this video with. Now, if you want to check out the timestamps, I already put that on the screen, but you can check them down in the description. Or if shorter versions of these videos are more your thing, I cut this preview into smaller segments. You can check those videos out a little bit later on this YouTube channel, and it's all there for you to digest in shorter time periods. But I'm a long form content type of person. That's what I enjoy watching and listening. That's what I provide. But I also cut it up for those that don't. So again, it's all available to you. Now, before I go into this preview video, I was trying to remind you guys that we were going to do a monthly giveaway. And the monthly giveaway, let me put it on the screen right now, was worth $50. We hit our goal. You can see that all the way over there. 554 subscribers we got. We actually got like 8 subscribers this last week. So that was awesome. So we hit the goal before the end of the month. Therefore, I'm giving away $50 that you see up there. Now, this also goes into my weekly giveaways that I do every single week, which I will be running in this video as well as the monthly giveaway that you see on the screen. The weekly giveaway is $5. So anyone that participates this week in any of the videos, and participation just requires you to comment on the video. Anyone who participates will be put into the giveaway, the weekly giveaway, next week for $5, but you'll also be put into the monthly giveaway that'll be at the, well, it'll be the first Monday of the next month, which is obviously what we have right now in June. So we're running a monthly giveaway for the month of May. So again, to participate on this channel, you gotta be subscribed and you gotta comment on my videos. Depending on how many videos you comment on, gives you that many entries. Now, it's only, it's limited to 1 entry per video. So if you want to comment 50 times on a video, that's great. Hey man, I will participate back. However, you only get credit for 1 entry because it's 1 video. So if you want the maximum amount of entries, comment on each of the videos that I post within a week. So a lot of people have participated every single week. They're going to have more entries into that monthly giveaway you see up there. However, just by commenting 1 time, which I wouldn't, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but I wouldn't say just comment once and that's good. I appreciate the more participation from you and from everyone else. But again, you can do you. If you want just 1 entry, just comment 1 time throughout the month. There are some people that just commented this last week because I went on Twitter and I just blasted a bunch of times to remind people, hey, if you're subscribed to this channel, you're going to have a chance to win $50 if you participate on the videos. So we got a few more subscribers, which I appreciate. Thank you guys for subscribing. Anyone that's coming to this channel that's brand new, I like to reward those that participate on this channel. That's my way of giving back. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and look at some of these, or let's do some of these giveaways. The first thing that I have on the screen is the weekly subscriber giveaway. This last week we had 56 total entries. That means 56 comments from different people on my videos. That's awesome. That's a lot of participation. So I appreciate all of those that did participate. And basically, this is an Excel formula that I have in here. It's a randomizer. So when I hit yes here, we're going to have a winner. The weekly subscriber giveaway, not the monthly, the weekly. This is person's going to win $5 is Jim Lemoyne. Jim, congratulations. I already have your information. As I said, kind of leading into this part or into this giveaway, one entry can help you win. And that's what Jim did this last week. Jim did participate on the live channel. So obviously we're all busy. I understand. Jim's been a very long time supporter of the channel. So Jim, congratulations. I'll get you your $5 here. Now, just to show you that this is not rigged in any way or shape or form, I'll just go ahead and hit it a couple more times. You can see, different person, it's a randomizer. My randomizer is all the way over here to the right. It's a bunch of different formulas and stuff like that. So, congratulations, Jim, once again. Let's go ahead and do our monthly subscriber giveaway, which we had 223 total entries from the beginning of the month of May to the end of the month of May. 223. That's pretty good. I don't know where it ranks amongst most months, but this is pretty high. So you can see I have all of the names over here. The tournament, the video that the people commented on. We'll see who our $50 winner is. Gabriel Brown. Gabe, congratulations. I don't know why I have you in here as Gabe. I usually write it down as Gabriel Brown. Let's see, PGA DFS. So is the PGA Championship. Let me go down there. It doesn't matter. Gabe put way more entries than this. I think I just probably put that in there. Yeah, there's Gabe there. Trying to find this more. Yeah, see, Gabriel Brown. It's the same person. Gabe, congratulations. 2 entries does not do you justice. You comment every single week, just about. So, congratulations, Gabriel. You did it on the PGA Championship, the strategy video. $50 go to you. Now, for those that just came in just for the giveaway, I implore you to stay a little bit longer. I feel like I give some of the best information in the DFS community. We all can talk about strokes gained stats until our face gets blue. You're not going to get better answers in building your lineups. There has to be a little bit of diversity in your lineup building. That's what the bucket system provides. That's what I provide when it comes to building lineups. I get very, very specific and analytical when it comes to building lineups. That's what I feel like I provide this DFS community. So, and of course, if you continue to participate, you're going to continue to get chances to win money. Again, that's my way of rewarding you for participating on the channel. And then in the future, there will be a website, and I will give away subscriptions to that website. I will definitely ask some of my subscribers to help me back test that website. So if you are interested in doing that, be subscribed, participate, because I will just be reaching out to the people that participate the most just to have back test my my website, and also most likely we'll give you some free subscriptions that way. So that's what I can offer. If you just came in just for the giveaway, I implore you to stay a little bit longer. So congratulations to Jim for being the weekly giveaway winner, and congratulations to Gabe for being the monthly giveaway winner. Another thing that I like to do is called Prize Picks. If you're unfamiliar with this, I have a link in the description below that'll send you to the homepage of Prize Picks. But once you click the little sign up button, the promo code SweetSpot will populate into the promo code section of the sign up page. And if you sign up using that promo code and put $20 in your account, I'm going to give you $20 back. Now, the beautiful thing is Prize Picks has a protected flex play every Friday. What that means is you can put up to $20 into a 4-pick, 5-pick, 6-pick flex, and if none of your selections hit, as in you don't get them correct, you'll get your money back. Super easy. Plus, you know, if you do put $20 in, boom, you already have that flex play amount. I'm gonna give you your $20 back, so it's free. You can just sign up on Prize Picks for free, essentially. And they'll match your deposit up to $100. So that 20 turns into 40. So you have plenty of lotto tickets that you can do every Friday by playing Prize Picks and signing up using the promo code SweetSpot. Again, link in the description. Again, I highly encourage you guys to go check it out. I've been really close on hitting some of these picks. Now I don't really do prize picks videos anymore. I'm waiting for me to put my website together so we can actually go through the stats a little bit more. We get to zoom in a little bit more when it comes to these stats. So that's why I've kind of done away with doing prize picks videos, but I'm gonna get back to it somewhere down the road. So prize picks is available to you. Now, there's another thing that I like to provide is a cheat sheet. Check the description of this video. You're gonna once you click on that link, it'll send you to this page. All this information is available to you for free. Just click that link. Now, you can use the filters when you come here, but you cannot modify this data. I have this protected. However, if you want to copy this data or you want to manipulate it on your own, go to the file menu and make a copy. That way it's yours. But if you don't care for that, the filters should be available to you. If not, we can troubleshoot it and figure out why it's not showing up for you. But I have a DraftKings filter on the Dream Sheet. I also have the bucket system here, which also has filters up here. This one's called the bucket system. And you can follow along with me in these preview videos, as well as the strategy videos that I do Tuesday night. And going forward, it'll be 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that's 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, but it's 8 p.m. live. We go over the strategy. I go over the sweet spot process in the beginning, the marquee tee times, and then we basically build lineups for the last hour or two. Depending on participation with the chat, I could be on for a total of 3 hours. I could be on a total of 2 hours, or maybe even an hour and a half. Just depends on who shows up and who participates. But again, strategy video is live, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, or is DGen 75, the Lord's time zone. So if you want to follow along with me, not only in this preview video, but that strategy video I was just talking about, click the link, the cheat sheet link down below in the description, and visit this page and use the filters. That way you can follow along with me. I will have an optimizer ready tomorrow. I wait for all the tee times to come out, so the RBC Canadian Open is going to have to provide us the tee times in order to build the optimizer. If you want access to that, be subscribed, comment down below. If you need a topic, just give me your 2 favorite golfers you're going to build your lineups around this week. And then email me at sweetspotdfs@gmail.com, letting me know you would like to use the optimizer. I'll also reiterate this in the strategy video tomorrow. I will send it out to you while I am live. While I am live. That's tongue twister somehow. Anyways, if you do want that optimizer right there, sweetspotdfs@gmail.com. Let me know you want it. Be subscribed to the channel. And that's it. So that covers all of the giveaway reminders and the giveaways. So we'll get into our first segment of the video, which is the course and tournament information. So when it comes to this course and tournament information portion of the video, I like to go over the golf course as well as the tournament. Now, when I talk about the golf course, it's because I want you to understand the benefits of hitting a shot. Not so much the benefits. What will be beneficial? What shot shape will be beneficial on this golf course? Most of the time, it doesn't even matter. This week, it really doesn't matter. Now, one thing you need to know about the golf course, it is the Oakdale Golf and Country Club. This tournament, by the way, I'm going to be bouncing back and forth, I guess, here, was not played in 2021 or 2020 because of COVID. However, if you take just a look here at the top, you can see all the different golf courses that were used for the RBC Canadian Open. So we have Oakdale Golf and Country Club this year. Last year was St. George's. Previous years, we had Glen Abbey. And then we also had Hamilton Golf and Country Club. We also had the Royal Montreal, I think, golf course. And then Glen Abbey. Glen Abbey was used here quite a bit, actually. All of this just to let you know or remind you, it's not the same golf course. So when it comes to like course information or course history, it's really tournament history. Now this is the Canadian Open, so this is the national. It's basically the equivalent of like a U.S. Open or the Open or the British Open as we call it here in America. It's their national Open. So it matters much more to the Canadians than, I shouldn't even say it that way. There have been a lot of well-known winners of this event that do take this tournament very, very seriously because of its national importance. But the Canadians, the Canadian golfers, that is, they want to win this because I don't even remember the last time a Canadian has won this tournament. But I know it's kind of like I wouldn't say it was a curse, but there's a lot of pressure as a Canadian to win this tournament. But I just wanted to go over all the different golf courses because when we talk about the Oakdale Golf and Country Club, it is a private golf course, and it uses 3 different 9-hole golf courses to create this one for the PGA Tour. So they're using 3 different golf courses. It's all routed differently. I don't think it really matters which holes that go on which golf courses. To me, it doesn't matter. Again, I'm looking at what shot shape is beneficial. So that's what I provide in the course information portion here. It looks like draws are a little bit more beneficial. Like the sight lines definitely are more comforting for a draw golfer. So a right-handed golfer, that means that the ball shapes from right to left. For a left-handed golfer, it would be right to left. Same. So that'd be a fade for a lefty, a draw for a righty. So that's what I see. Now, is that an end-all be-all when it comes to this golf course? No. No, it is not. Some of these holes you don't even have to drive. Or like one of them that I have as a draw, it's 398 yards. You could hit a 5-iron to 100 yards. So if a golfer were to hit like maybe a 6-iron, 200 yards, I apologize. I'm thinking of this differently. 398, 200 yards from that's 198 left. So I was thinking they were going to have 100 yards away, but that's not how math works. So they could club down. Let's put it that way on some of these holes. Maybe not so much for 398, not so much 424, or even 489. So the draws, I think, are very, very beneficial. But again, that's not an end-all be-all. So don't worry about the golfers hitting a draw or not. But if there was a tiebreaker that you wanted one golfer over another, guess what? I have all that information in the cheat sheet. So you can see in column P, I have a bunch of shot shapes here. Now, it's not completely filled in, and that's my apologies. There are some golfers in this event that I just saw a name that withdrew that I need to update. By the way, let's talk about that really quickly. There are going to be a lot of withdrawals happening at this event. I feel like it happens every single year because the US Open qualifiers happen the same week. Like they're going on right now. It's Monday. It's the longest day of golf. We're going to find some of these golfers in the field made the US Open. So what they're going to do instead is skip this event and go to the US Open to practice. So like Benny Ann, I've already removed him from the cheat sheet, but I just saw Sam Stevens' name. He is also withdrawn. I will update this later tonight or tomorrow morning. Just check in with the cheat sheet. I'm probably just going to remove these golfers' names and just update the cheat sheet as we go. But be on the lookout for withdrawals. That is a big deal here. Now, what I was talking about before with shot shapes, I don't have a lot of these golfers in here. A lot of them are new. They're rookies this year, or they really haven't played that much. Not for everyone. Like Aaron Wise, I obviously don't have here. He hits a fade though. Let's put that in there. Some of this isn't filled in because a lot of these guys don't play on the tour all that often. Some of them don't. You're going to see a lot of names here that we just haven't seen in a while. Also, there's going to just be lesser names in this field because a lot of the top names are already practicing for the US Open. So just to give you a heads up, I mean, we already see there are 3 6K golfers. Let me just go to here. Let me zoom in. I'll zoom in first. There are 3 10K golfers. I think I said 6K. 3 10K golfers. That's not super great. And by the way, the strength of the field of this event, 245. Also not very great. They're very weak. And I mean, Rory provides 40 of those 245 points. Matt Fitzpatrick provides 22 of those points. I think those are the only guys that have 20 or more points that go towards the strength of field. If they were to withdraw, this event would be kind of an alternate field event when it comes to the strength of field. Less than 180 or close to 160, we're coming into the territory of the Corrales Punta Cana. I think the Puerto Rico Open this year was 123, if I remember correctly. It could have been a little bit lower, but we're kind of going under that territory, which is not great. Be on the lookout for any of these top names withdrawing. And if that's the case, lineup building is going to be very unique this year. We'll kind of cover a little bit of this in the optimal and GPP winning lineups. However, I don't anticipate these 10K golfers are going to withdraw. They're already qualified for the US Open. They would have already withdrawn a long time ago. Same goes with Matt Fitzpatrick. He's obviously your reigning US Open champion. He's probably not going to withdraw from this event. Plus, there are some RBC golfers in this field that have obligations to be here. So they're also not going to withdraw. There might be the chance that a missed cut will be in their future because they want to leave earlier, but I doubt that's going to be the issue either. Well, again, we'll cover this in the past optimal and GPP winning lineups. So I kind of been jumping around because I forgot to mention the withdraws. I already saw 3 before I went live, and I just didn't have the time to update them before going live. So there are definitely 3 on my sheet that I need to make updates to. But I anticipate we're probably going to see a few more withdraws. So you have to be on the lookout for that. Just have to be. Probably reserve building lineups until Wednesday night, something like that, to know all of the withdraws. And again, don't be surprised if golfers even withdraw Thursday morning. I don't want to put bad juju out there, but it's possible that we're going to see that. And it would be very unfortunate. Maybe this isn't a week that we put a lot of money into DraftKings or FanDuel or anything like that, just because of the uncertainty. But entirely up to you. I'm just forewarning you that that's something that could happen this week. Like I said, I've been jumping around. We were talking about shot shapes. Again, that's available to you on the cheat sheet for most of the golfers. Not all, but most of the golfers. And if it was a tiebreaker, that's where you can use it. Like if it was between Rory and Sam Burns, Rory primarily hits a draw. So I would pick Rory McIlroy over Sam Burns if they were tied. And if I was to put like a weighting distribution on that, I'd probably put like 2 points out of 100 on shot shapes, maybe even less, maybe 1 point. It's not all that important to me. Now, if what I was showing on the course information here, if I saw way more draws than this, like I have 3 off the tee and 1 approach draw. If I saw like 6 or more, then yeah, I'd probably want to load most of my teams up with golfers who hit draws, but that's not the case. Again, I apologize. Not much structure with this course information. I wanted to lead off with the tournament fact sheets, and I totally forgot. If you want access to these tournament fact sheets, go to the GCSAA. You can see that here at the top left. GCS, I can't highlight it, but it's up here. If you can see the mouse cursor, it's way up there, right above RBC Canadian Open. Go there, go to the bottom of the page, check out the tournament fact sheets, go to 2023, and the Canadian Open will be at the top. So if you want access to this, all this provides is information for you. You can see the pars for the 9 holes, the par for all 18, the yardage that's being used, the turf grass that's being used. This is the most important thing to me. You've got bent grass and POA greens. So keep all that information. Well, I should say, use that information for your research purposes. You want to see golfers that do well on bent and POA greens, use that for stroke gain putting. Or even results. I use results because everything's baked in. All the strokes gain stats are baked into the results. So you could do that. I wouldn't so much care about rough. Bluegrass is pretty much a standard or a standard grass used in the rough in northern climates. So I don't know. You don't have to use that for any data point. I don't think it's going to matter all that much. Looks like it's kind of thick, like pretty long though. 4 inches, that's pretty long. 3.5 is usually what we see on tour. 3.5. You can see some more additional notes. Now, if you've been to the tournament fact sheets before, you know that there are course statistics that usually show up underneath the tournament setup. I don't know if it's just because this is a one-off golf course that they didn't add that information. Now they're going to play this golf course in 2026. I'm not sure why they didn't add it, but you can see some of that information right here. So you can see the average square feet for the greens on this golf course, how many bunkers there are, and the average width of the fairway. 25 is fairly wide, not like super wide, but you know, it's a pretty good landing area. You can see some of the more additional notes. I don't think there's really anything that we have to even consider, honestly. I don't think it matters. The architect Stanley Thompson was renovated by Ian Andrew. You can use those pieces as data points as well. I wouldn't put any more than 2 points in any of those aspects. Like, it's either architect, or if you want to use the renovation architect, you certainly can. But I think it was mostly trees that they removed. I think right here is where you'll get the Ian Andrew renovations. So I don't know. Not a big deal when it comes to renovations to me. Just use Stanley Thompson as your architect. I think there are a few golf courses that have been used on tour since 2013 that were from Stanley Thompson. You can use that as a data point. So just to bounce around a little bit more here, just to go over a little more pieces of information. There are 156 golfers in the field. I think our cut is going to be top 65 in ties. I didn't see anything different with that with the RBC Canadian Open. And again, bent grass and POA, that's going to be available to you on the cheat sheet as well. So use it to your advantage. That is all that I have for the course and tournament information. I think we get on to the next segment, which is the pass optimal in GPP win lineups. So we come to 2017, where I just have the optimal lineup. I did not have the GPP winning lineup, but your optimal used all 6 golfers here at the top. And if you're new to the channel, what I like to go over with GPP winning, or not so much GPP winning lineups, but what I suggest when you start your lineups, when you build them, you start with a 10-9-8-7-7-6 approach. Just to slow that down, that requires a 10K golfer to be in your lineup, a 9K golfer, an 8K golfer, 2 7K golfers, and a 6K. Well, this optimal lineup had just that. 10K in Charlie Hoffman, a 9K in Tony Finau, 8K in Ian Poulter, 2 7Ks, 1 in Gary Woodland and 1 in Johnny Vegas, and then a $6,600 Robert Garrigus. All of this equaled up to be $50,000. So right away, we see the 10-9-8-7-7-6, and that's in 2017. We moved to 2018. Again, I don't have a GPP winning lineup for this one. However, your optimal used $49,600 of the $50,000 salary, leaving $400 on the table. That started with a 10K. We skip the 9K. We go to an 8K. And then we've got 4 7K golfers. So you might be like, okay, this time a 10-9-8-7-7-6 didn't work. You'd be correct. However, I did kind of make a rule that you can have 2 substitutions. So if we think about the 10-9-8-7-7-6, we start with a 10, then we go to a 9. If we didn't like anyone in the 9K range, we can actually sub that down to say maybe an 8K golfer. Now, I will say this doesn't quite work out because I think moving a 9 down to an 8 counts as one substitution. You can see we have 4 7K golfers, so we obviously have to make a 6K to a 7K substitution. So how about we start there? We don't see a 6K golfer, so we make our substitution from a 6 up to a 7. So now we would have 3 7K golfers in our lineup if we were to start 10-9-8, and that's 7-7-7. But again, we don't have a 9K golfer. So we got to sub that down. To me, I think you sub from a 9 to an 8 and an 8 to a 7. That's how I think of substitutions. But if you wanted to make the argument that you can sub a 9 down to a 7, that's how we get on the 10-8-7-7-7-7. Now, 11-7 is pretty expensive. There is a way to have made a 10-9-8-7-7-6 lineup with this field. You would start with Tommy Fleetwood, 10,500. Ian Poulter at 9,100. $8,100 Keegan Bradley. And I think we just do the three 7Ks here. This equals 49,900. So there is a way to do the 10,98776, but maybe we don't add a 6. We just add a 7K, another 7K golfer that goes with it. And that's a bit more palpable because a 10-8 and 4 7s, that's kind of, I'm not going to lie, that's pretty difficult to get to. Thinking about building a lineup that way is fairly challenging now. I would say there are a lot of 7K golfers that did show up inside the top 20, so it is definitely doable. However, one thing to note, just look at this. So far in we'll go back to 2017. We had a 10K golfer that finished second. We had a 12K golfer that finished 8th. In 2018, we had an 11K golfer who won the tournament, and we had a 10K golfer that finished inside the top 6. So if you're worried about playing a 10K golfer, so far in 2017, 2018, not so much the case. In 2019, I do have an optimal lineup, and I also have the $1 GPP winning lineup, which I guess I didn't highlight everybody. Okay, well, let's talk about the optimal lineup, and then I will double check what the GPP winning lineup was. I'm pretty sure I have this in the notes, I imagine. I think it's right here. Yeah. So this is 2019 we're talking about. Okay, let me do this. Let me do something really quick. I'm going to go ahead, screenshot this. And then I'll just look back and forth, and that way we can see what the GPP winning lineup was. Let's see, we had Rory, Shane Lowry, okay, this is much more challenging than I thought. Brent Snedeker was in it, Nick Taylor. Okay, how about this? I'm not going to waste your time as I'm trying to figure this out. I mean, if you're ever streaming, a lot of times your brain just goes to mush, and I can't look as well as I'd like to. So how about we just do the find, right? And will it? Already. Okay. So it was Rory, Shane, Brent Snedeker, Willett, Nick Taylor, and Scott Brown. That equaled 50,000 on the button. And might I add, it starts with an 11K golfer. So I know I was going to say optimal, but I wanted to figure this out first. Rory starts with a 10K golfer, then a 9K golfer, 8K, 7, 7, 6. So your GPP winning lineup in 2019 did the 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6 method, or it started that way. Your optimal lineup had an 11K golfer, 8K golfer, another 8K, 7, 7, 6. That equaled $49,500. So it almost used the 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. Instead, all we did was sub a 9 down to another 8K golfer, and we used one of the low 6K golfers to make the optimal. Your optimal used up $49,500. Your GPP winning lineup used all $50,000. But again, just to point it out, there's a 10K that finished first, a 10K that finished fourth. And then we also had two 10Ks down here that finished 20th place. So if you're kind of worried about playing a 10K golfer this week, maybe don't, because it has proven to be a pretty, let's just put it this way, that salary has lived up to its cost. It has performed pretty good. In 2022, let's just get that out of the way right away. Ooh, 10K golfer, 10K golfer, 10K golfer. 4 10K golfers inside the top 10. We also had an 11K golfer here down in 18th place. I guarantee, was that all that we had for 10K golfers? No, we had Cam Smith down here. Do we have 6 10K golfers? Holy moly. Looks like all 6K, yeah, let me put a filter on this. Sort from top to bottom. We had 6. They all made the cut. Only Cam Smith was he was the only person that did not finish inside the top 18, it looks like. So that's pretty remarkable. Again, giving you more confidence to play any of the 10K golfers this week. It looks like all are in play just by going over the salary structures. That's not usually a popular sentiment with a lot of people because they just think salaries don't matter when it comes to lineup building, but of course they do. You can't use up more than $50,000 of the salary, so you have to make decisions. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I would never play a 10K golfer. That's just too much. It costs too much. Well, in a weak field like this, a 10K golfer probably makes the most sense, honestly. And it obviously is showing to perform the best out of most of the salaries. You see a 10K golfer up inside the top 6 almost every single year. I think it is actually every single year. And it is either in the optimal lineup every year or even in the GPP winning lineup. Actually, let's just go over it. So your optimal in 2022 left $1,500 on the table. It started with a 10K golfer in Rory McIlroy, a 9K golfer in Tony Finau, 8K golfer in Justin Rose, 6K golfer in Wyndham Clark, and 2 more 6K golfers in Austin Cook and Kelly Craft. That's a little difficult to do. So I created a realistic optimal, which went 10, 9, 8, those same golfers that we were just talking about. It also did include Wyndham Clark at 6,900, but it used $7,700 Patrick Rogers and $6,600 Kelly Craft. That used $49,900. So that was 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6. Again, you can make up to 2 substitutions. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. We just sub one of those 7s down to a 6. Your GPP winning lineup used up $49,700, so left $300 on the table, and it used those same 3 golfers, Rory McIlroy, Tony Finau, and Justin Rose. Oh, the same 4 golfers, sorry, and Wyndham Clark. But it then used Emiliano Grillo, Gabe, I know you're listening, Emiliano Grillo, and $6,700 Carlos Ortiz. So that also went 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6. Now your optimal that year scored 638. GPP scored 600, and your realistic scored 631. That's 7 points behind the optimal and 31 points ahead of the GPP winning lineup. Everything that I've shown you had a 10K golfer and a 7K golfer in the optimals. Let's just go over this once again. We had a 10K golfer in Rory McIlroy in 2022, and obviously we didn't have a 7K golfer this year. I stand corrected. All right, 10, 9, 8. 666. That is what 2022 was. 2019, we have a 10, an 8, another 8, 7, 7, 6. So 10, 8 is what I see, and a 6. 10, 8, and 6. In 2018, we had Dustin Johnson at 11,000, Keegan Bradley at 8,100. Then we had a ton of 7K golfers. So it looks like the 10, 8 currently is the only thing that's shown up every single year. The same thing applies here in 2017 because we have Ian Poulter as our 8K golfer, Charlie Hoffman as our 10K golfer, and that's it. So 2017 is where it starts. So we've always had a 10K golfer and we've always had an 8K golfer in the optimal lineup. That's every single year, ladies and gentlemen, every single year, a 10 and an 8. And that's just a mix and match from there. What are you going to do with your last 4 spots? Now, of course, you got to look at it this year. What's different? Let me start with one thing. We do have 3 10K golfers. Now, I keep track of all this information here with the bucket system, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in this video or in the preview video. You can see the totals that we've seen every single year. This is the lowest we've seen since 2018. But what did we see in 2018? You had DJ, Tommy Fleetwood. Where's our last 10K golfer? Did he make the cut? Did he miss the cut? Brooks Koepka missed the cut. I don't know what Brooks' story was at that time. I don't know if he was dealing with an injury, but he missed the cut. Now, I suppose in 2017, we also had 3 10K golfers. And you had one there, one there. So we had 2 inside the top 10. Where's our third one? Matt Kuchar, down here. As I was saying, I keep track of top 10 success rates, frequency rates, the success, I should say this is just through all of the buckets. Success is by itself. 58% of the time, or 58% of all golfers in the 10K bucket have finished inside the top 10. 58%. We go down to the top 20s right here, 76%. So it's over 75% having a golfer from the 10K range to be inside the top 20. 94% success rate for a cut made, which isn't going to be good enough for a 10K golfer, but if there was any additional confidence you needed to do in playing a 10K golfer, I think it's shown right here. These are the highest success rates I've seen from any bucket. I wish I had a website to show you all the single years that, or every year for every tournament. This would probably be one of the highest success rates you've ever seen. And you can see when it comes to top 10s, you know, we've had at least 2 every single year, 2, including 2018 and 2017, where we had 3 total 10K golfers in those tournaments. So when it comes to this year, and we're looking at Rory, McIlroy, Sam Burns, and Tyrrell Hatton, yeah, I think it's looking pretty good that those guys are going to finish inside the top 10. Not all of them, or, you know, there's only 3 of them, but 2 of them. Is this the year that the trend breaks where we don't see a 10K golfer inside the top 10? Or, yeah, 10K golfer, almost a tongue twister. I don't think so. I mean, Rory's been playing pretty good as of late. He is your defending champion. What if he went back? By the way, he's a back-to-back champion. He's looking to become a back-to-back-to-back champion. That would put him in some pretty good company, like one LT Gray Woods. Yeah, Tiger Woods. He'd be in that company, and I think only a handful of other golfers went back-to-back-to-back on the PGA Tour. Probably not even the Canadian Open can anyone say they've been back-to-back-to-back. So I could see Rory doing well here. He's in a lot of buckets that would help him perform, not so much help him perform, but have proven to perform well. Sam Burns is no slouch either. He's turning it on at the right time. I think this is a good golf course for him as well. And same kind of goes with Tyrrell Hatton. I don't mind Tyrrell at this golf course, but if there was one that I probably don't like the one that I like the least, it's going to be Tyrrell Hatton. I would much rather play Rory, and I'd rather play Sam Burns. So don't be afraid, especially Rory at 11.5. Again, every single year. I'm trying to find our 11K golfer. Scotty Scheffler finished 18th last year. That's not good enough, but it's not going to hurt you. Rory was 11.2 in 2019. He won it. DJ was 11.7 in 2018. He won it. 2017, 12,200 Dustin Johnson. He finished 8th. I think I'm not going to look at, I just want you to see all the high price guys. Yeah, 2017. So every single year we've seen an 11K golfer. Let's put it that way. We've seen an 11K golfer inside the top 18. Scotty's really the only anomaly, but I'm not afraid of playing the TPG, as Chad Eckert would say from the Fantasy Golf Pod. Rory is definitely on my radar to play this week. I mean, outside of him just being the best golfer in the field, just being an 11K golfer, the performance trends that come with the top price guy, because again, this is a rank order that DraftKings has decided who has the best odds or who has the best chance to win is going to be rank ordered from the highest salary down. So yes, Rory McIlroy being the best golfer in the field. Yeah, don't be afraid to play him in your DFS lineups. That's all that I have for the Pass Optimal and GPP win lineups, and also looking at the salaries for this week. We'll kind of dive into it a little bit more with the bucket system, but this was your in-depth analysis when it comes to salaries for this year and the previous years. Let's go on to the next segment, which is reviewing the Memorial Tournament. So we're going to start here with the bucket system. Victor Hovland's your winner, by the way. I don't want to go into a review there. I just want you to look here first. We'll make this review short and sweet. This is the column I want you to pay attention to. If you're watching any of the preview video or the preview video for the Memorial Tournament, basically I told you, we went bucket by bucket. Told you what to expect from that bucket to finish inside the top 10. And that's essentially what this sheet that you see on the screen is telling all of you. The projections we see here, the amount of top 10 golfers that came from those buckets, as well as the optimal lineup. And the column here that says success is looking at the projection and then seeing first, does this number fall inside the projection? If not, does this number? If there's a true statement in there, then the bucket is successful. I will scroll through this slowly. You can pause the video. You can look at the projections versus the successes, how many finished inside the top 10, what was in the optimal, and all that stuff. So you can double check this with me, but the formula's in there, pretty bulletproof. All but one bucket succeeded. All but one. And that was our last week ones. So last week one is golfers who had top 20'd the week before. So we're looking at the Memorial Tournament. Golfers who play in the Charles Schwab Challenge. That was the tournament that preceded the Memorial. Normally, we don't see golfers coming into the Memorial who had played the week before and had success, finishing inside the top 20, do well at the Memorial Tournament. This week was a little different. We had 4 golfers inside the top 10. Furthermore, we had 3 of them finish in the optimal lineup. So therefore, the bucket failed. And that's the only bucket that did fail. When it comes to the projections, this is again me projecting how many golfers from that bucket finished inside the top 10. Now, this is useful information because when we just look at this first bucket, I am projecting 1, because we always round down with the minimum projection, to 3, we always round up with the maximum projection, so 1 to 3 to be inside the top 10. Well, there were 4, so technically I was wrong. However, since I'm always targeting the optimal lineup, it really only matters with the optimal. And here you have it. 2 golfers finished in the optimal lineup. Therefore, that hits the projection I had. Well, there were 16 golfers to choose from. So what you could have done is, okay, 1 to 3 was your projection. Don't play more than 3. Well, there were 4 that finished inside the top 10. You probably could have done pretty decent if you did select 3 of them. What this helps you do when building lineups is eliminate the other 13 golfers that were in that bucket total that year. Because again, it was a total of 16. And I'm telling you, don't play more than 3. You want somewhere between 1 to 3, but don't play more than 3. Which automatically means you eliminate 13 golfers from your player pool by looking at this bucket. And that's applied through each and every one of the other buckets that I have on here. To me, it makes lineup building, I love building lineups using the bucket system. And I apply that to my optimizer, which I'll just throw it on the screen right now. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let me go to this one. So let me throw this over here. This is from the Memorial Tournament. This optimizer utilizes all of the buckets. So you can see all the buckets. All right. You see all the buckets right here. We can look at the minimums that I have. So can you see the similarities here? I'm going to actually do this little number here. So this is the criteria that I have for buckets. Do you see how this matches the last year buckets over here? For last year 1, I had 1 to 3. You can see 1 to 3. 0 to 2, because there's always a 2-point buffer. 0 to 2 for the next 4 buckets. And you can see that matches. I mean, these are all part of the rules with the preview video, so I'd recommend watching that if you have any kind of questions here. But you can see last year's 6 right here, 1 to 3, 1 to 3. This, I build lineups exclusively with this. We were really, really close to making a lot of money this week. I have a strategy when it comes to building lineups, just for contest selection, that I have shared last week in the strategy video, that I'll also share again this week in the strategy video, that I think nets me the best results on getting my money back, if not just a little bit more. So I'll share that once again. But I use the optimizer exclusively. Again, almost made a lot of money this week. And just a little under break even, which was unfortunate. Wyndham Clark, his last 2 holes, I mean, I think that double bogey on the last hole cost me $140. So I could have had much, much more money if he doesn't double bogey that hole, because I missed out on a winner take all by, I think, 1.5 points. And with Wyndham's double bogey, he dropped down like 4 places or 5 places, whatever it ended up being, and the double bogey was -1 point. So I had that winner take all in the bag until he did that. So anyways, yeah, how this reads is 35 out of 36 buckets were successful. Now, to review one more piece of the, well, actually, we can go here and look at the optimal lineup versus the GPP versus the sweet spot optimal. We'll get into the sweet spot optimal at the end. Your optimal lineup left $200 on the table. It scored 539 points, and it used Victor Hovland, Denny McCarthy, Scotty Scheffler, Siwoo Kim, Andrew Putnam, and Adam Schenk. So that was a 10K golfer in Scotty Scheffler, 9K golfer in Victor Hovland, 8K golfer in Siwoo Kim, $7,600 Denny McCarthy, and then 2 6K golfers in Andrew Putnam and Adam Schenk. Again, left $200 on the table. Your GPP winning lineup left $300 on the table, and it scored 512. Just to compare that to the optimal scored 539. So there's 27 points, my bad, between the two. It's pretty darn good. Pretty close. The GPP was very close to the optimal lineup. That lineup had Victor Hovland, Denny McCarthy, Siwoo Kim, so 3 optimal lineup golfers, and then Adam Scott, Ricky Fowler, and Russell Henley. So that's all good and dandy. Now, every single week I tweet out what the sweet spot optimal was. And the sweet spot optimal follows all of the rules. Before I show you how many points that scored, because what I deem a success for the sweet spot process is if we follow the rules exactly to the T that I describe every single week. If we beat the GPP winning lineup, it was 100% successful. Of course, I want to hit the optimal lineup, but the whole tagline is aim for the optimal lineup, because if you miss, you might win a GPP instead. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. Aim small, miss small. So when it comes to the sweet spot optimal, there's one more thing to include. Other than the buckets, we got to include the marquee tee times, which means putting a filter on this and sorting this out by group rank. So top to bottom, group 1, 2, 3, and so on. So I'm going to highlight these in groups of 3. That way you can see them on the screen. Now, the rule when it comes to the marquee tee times is you select 2 to 4 groups. 2 to 4 groups. And then you only select 1 golfer from those groups. There are 9 groups to select from, and you need to select 2 to 4. But only 1 golfer from each of those groups. Because we normally do not see golfers from the same golf, like multiple golfers from the same group, be in the optimal lineup. As you can see on the screen already, these little black tick marks indicate the optimal lineup. And sure enough, we have Victor Hovland and Scotty Scheffler in the same group in the optimal lineup. So the marquee tee times didn't work this week. It was Victor and Scotty, Siwoo, and Denny McCarthy. But wait a minute, there were 4 golfers, so no more than 4. Again, 2 golfers are in the same group. So how does that look like with the sweet spot optimal? Well, of course, we can't select both Victor and Scotty. We got to choose one. But I use the optimizer to do this for me. Your sweet spot optimal had Victor Hovland at 9,700, Matt Fitzpatrick at 9,000, Siwoo Kim at 8,000, and Denny McCarthy at $7,600. If you started this way, those 4 golfers, and by the way, Denny McCarthy I was touting him all week. He was one of those guys that I kind of highlighted from performance trends. Not so much just a gut feeling or anything like that, but from performance trends. I talked about this in the strategy video. Go check that strategy video out when I talked about the 7K range. He was one golfer I highlighted. I wanted him in my lineups. I don't think I start Victor Hovland, though. I always like to start 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. But doing two 9K golfers, that's pretty decent. But anyways, you start with those 4 golfers. We go back to this page. You can see Victor Hovland was chosen. Denny McCarthy was chosen. I think it was Siwoo Kim and Matt Fitzpatrick. Start with those 3 or those 4 golfers. Let me just double check it was Siwoo. Yeah, Siwoo Kim. So you start with those 4 golfers. Then we add in Adam Scott at $8,000 and Eric Cole at $6,900. That uses up $49,200. That's also very difficult to build around because leaving $800 on the table is a little bit more challenging than what meets the eye. You know, at first glance, maybe it's not hard for you to think that, but leaving $800 on the table is kind of challenging. At Sweet Spot Optimal scored 525.5 points. So again, 525.5. I told you if this beats the GPP winning lineup, the Sweet Spot process was 100% successful. You forgot the GPP winning lineup scored 512. So 525 beats 512, meaning the Sweet Spot process, if you followed it, you could have taken down the $5 GPP, giving you $50,000. So yes, Sweet Spot process was 100% successful. At least that's how I deem success. Again, I want to hit the optimal, but I'm pretty cool with taking down a GPP instead. So that was your review, basically the Sweet Spot process during the Memorial Tournament. And now the last segment to talk about is the bucket system. So let's get right into it. So if you're following along with me on, or actually I should say this, if you're just watching the bucket system segment or that video as a standalone video, check the description of that video, check the link in the description that says cheat sheet. Go to the cheat sheet. You can follow along with me as I go through this. I'll show it here for you guys as well. You go to that bucket system tab and you put the filter on the bucket system. You can follow along with me as I discuss the bucket system for the Canadian Open. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And what I will do is just make sure there are no other filters being used on the cheat sheet when it comes to the bucket system, because I want you to look at everything, see everything, and filter out by bucket as we go through this. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over the stat column, clear everything out, and go to last year. We're just going to go bucket by bucket, talk about the buckets that show up inside the top 10 more often than the other buckets, and talk about the golfers that are in those buckets. So when we look at the last year bucket, we're trying to determine, did playing this event last year matter in any shape, way, or form? Basically what I do is I analyze the top 10 of every single year to give us this information. This goes back to 2013, by the way. And what would show up is, well, you want to look at the success rates. It's not a very high success rate, but instead, maybe we look at these projections. The higher the projection determines the higher the max projection determines the importance of that bucket and what to choose from, in my opinion. So when we look at last year buckets, it looks like being inside the top 20 of last year's event matters when trying to find golfers to finish inside the top 10 the next year, which would obviously be this year. 1 to 3 is what I have as a projection from this bucket. 1 to 3 from last year ones. No other bucket from playing this event last year show up inside the top 10 or have a high projection of finishing inside the top 10. None. So that includes having a 20 to 40th place finish, a 40th to 60th place finish. That's over here, by the way. A 60 to 80 place finish, or a missed cut. That's what bucket 5 represents, or missed cuts. Normally we see missed cuts a little bit higher with a projection, but for this event, it just does not appear to be that way. One note though, there is a 100% frequency rate of finishing inside the top 10 from this bucket. And normally we see about 35 golfers every single year. We have 36 this year. So if that gives you a little bit more confidence in playing this bucket, then by all means, pick from this bucket. But just to let you know, the projection is 0 to 2. And that applies for each of these buckets because remember, we want a 2-point buffer between the min and the max. We always round down with the min. We always round up with the max. And again, there has to be a 2-point buffer. So because we can't go lower than 0, max automatically is 2. So again, if you're selecting golfers that played last year, the easiest one to select from are golfers who finished inside the top 20. We have 11 in that bucket this year, where we normally see 14. Now, there's kind of a huge strength of field presence here. And why don't we just go ahead and take a look at the golfers? I guarantee you already know who they are because obviously we've already talked about them. We go here to the, by the way, if you're following along with me on the cheat sheet, you would then go to the dream sheet, put a filter on here, go to the DraftKings filter, and then you're going to filter out by the last year bucket in column E. So what we want to do is clear everything out of the last year bucket and just select one. Rory McIlroy and Sam Burns are golfers that are in this bucket. So if there was any more indication to use a Rory McIlroy or a Sam Burns, because we already went through the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups, we already talked a little bit about salaries and the importance of a 10K golfer in your lineup. But guess what? We saw an 11K golfer inside the top 18 of every single event. And if you take out last year's event with Scotty Scheffler was 11K, every year before that, there was an 11K golfer inside the top 8. The top 8 of the RBC Canadian Open. So last year, one bucket. The projection's 1 to 3. I'm projecting 1 to 3 golfers from this bucket to finish inside the top 10. There are a lot of good golfers here, but Rory McIlroy takes the cake. He brings 40 points to the strength of field points to this bucket. Again, there was 97, I think, right? 97 strength of field points total. Half of those go towards Rory. So that doesn't really necessarily give me like more ammo or more reason to play Rory, although it kind of does. It's like, it feels like Rory can't fail at this event. It's a different golf course, remember? So there obviously is a way to fail, but maybe this is the time of year that Rory kind of turns it on. And when it's in a weak field like this, perhaps this is where Rory shines. You know, because he's already won at different golf courses. Like if we take a look, he won in 2022 at St. George's Golf and Country Club. And then 3 years prior to that, he won at the Hamilton Golf and Country Club. So he's won at 2 different courses for this event. What's to say he can't win this event or even just finish inside the top 5? That's all that I need him to do. If he finishes inside the top 10, I'm also happy too. I'm more likely going to win money if he does that. I just need to get the other pieces right, which we all do. But having at least one of these guys inside your top 10, like if Rory finishes inside top 10, he returns value. I know a lot of us want to get cute and say, well, he's got to finish inside the top 5 in order to return value. Yeah, you're not wrong. However, having 6-year golfers inside the top 10, I guarantee you will get you a win on in a GPP, in a big field tournament or a big field contest. So I think with full confidence, you play Rory McIlroy. And if you don't play Rory, you play Sam Burns. I think that's how I'm building all of my lineups. They're either Rory or they're Sam Burns. Tyrrell will be in a couple winner-take-all events to try to get my money back, but they're all going towards Rory and they're all going towards Sam Burns. So if you want to compete against me, you know where I'm already heading. If you want to be contrarian, go for it. I don't care. But we also have a lot of good 9K golfers. Corey Connors, Justin Rose, and Shane Lowry. I'll probably stay away from Shane. I don't care. Justin Rose, though, ooh, I like Justin Rose this week. I'm sure a lot of people do, but I could start Rory, Justin Rose, or I could start Sam Burns, Justin Rose. That's probably a little bit more palpable. I mean, we'll see. 7K range is probably where it's at this week because of all of the withdrawals that might be happening. Again, keep your eyes out, keep on the lookout for that. But I do like the idea of going Sam Burns into Justin Rose. But of course, we have Shane Lowry, Keith Mitchell, Brendan. We're not going to go there. But Keith Mitchell, I also don't mind. Pretty decent on POA, pretty decent on Bentgrass. I don't mind going to Keith Mitchell. And then these guys down here, I don't really care. So I think it's Rory or Burns or bust. And we go from there. Now, I'm not going to talk about the rest of the buckets that played last year. Remember, buckets 1 through 5 are all golfers who played last year. One thing I didn't already say is bucket 6 are golfers who did not play. You can kind of see that here. Did not play. That projection is 2 to 5. 2 to 5, projected to be inside the top 10 from this bucket. The lowest we've ever seen is 4. And we normally have 74 golfers in that bucket. We have 84 this year. So the chances of getting 4 or more inside the top 10 from this bucket, pretty high. Pretty high. So these are golfers who did not play last year, by the way. Let's take a look at that bucket. Again, I'm not looking at buckets 2 through 5. We're just looking at 1 and 6 because they seem to be the most important. Well, we've got Matt Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, who, if it's not Justin Rose, it's Tommy Fleetwood. I might even build some Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood lineups just to start out with, because it just feels like this is a Fleetwood week. Like, I could see him and Rory battling it out at the end. If you want to get contrarian, Cam Young's been struggling as of late. This could be a course that he could annihilate, honestly. Matt Kuchar's okay, $9,100. That might be a little bit of a stretch to pay $9,100 for a Matt Kuchar, but he has played this well before. He is an RBC member, so, or whatever you want to call it, Team RBC. But there are other good golfers in this bucket. Like, I actually don't mind going to like Adrian Meronk or even Nikolai Højgaard. He's actually in my dummy lineup because my dummy lineup's my eye test. I do like Nikolai Højgaard. Fleetwood's also in that lineup as well. I think it went Sam Burns, Fleetwood, Nikolai Højgaard, which is wonderful. Don't mind like an Aaron Wise or even a Taylor Pendrith, but I have Mav McNeely in my dummy lineup as well. So like, I'm already liking that. Remember, this bucket, you want to choose 2 to 5 golfers to roster in your lineups. Or at least, I shouldn't say it that way. I project 2 to 5 golfers to finish inside the top 10. The likelihood that you can fit up to 5 golfers in your lineup might not be likely. But if you started with 2, I think that's a good way to start, especially when no one is more than 10K or 10K, $10,000 and up. So I think you can start with 2 golfers here. And I don't mind starting with some of these 9K golfers, and I don't mind sprinkling in any of these 8 and 7K golfers. Remember, we've seen a 10K golfer and an 8K golfer every single year inside the top 10, or I should say in the optimal lineup. Again, we're chasing the optimal here. So a 10 and an 8, I don't mind Nikolai Højgaard. Probably not as high as a lot of people are on Ludwig Aberg, but yeah, what can you do? I mean, I don't mind playing him. It's just not going to be at a high clip. Same goes with Adrian Meronk. I like Nikolai Højgaard like significantly better than Adrian Meronk and Aberg. Yeah, there are other good golfers here, by the way. Akshay Bhatia is down here. I could even go back to someone like S.H. Kim. Luke List did withdraw, so keep that in mind. I will remove him from the cheat sheet. Sam Stevens also withdrew. So these 2 golfers withdrew. I can't remember anyone else off the top of my head, but keep all that in mind. There are some good names here. Sleeper pick, by the way, CT Pan. Don't be afraid to play CT Pan this week. I like that play a lot. So anyways, that's the other important bucket for the last year bucket. For the last year buckets. Bucket 1 and bucket 6. Those were my favorite plays in each of those. So let's move on to the last week buckets. Now this, again, just like last year buckets, is telling you, does playing here last, or is asking you, does playing here, or does playing an event the previous week leading into the RBC Canadian Open matter? And again, we're looking at buckets 1 through 5. These are all buckets that did play last week. Bucket 1, we're projecting 1 to 3. The rest of the buckets, actually not the rest. The 3 in between, bucket 2, bucket 3, and bucket 4, 0 to 2. Bucket 5, missed cuts from the Memorial Tournament, 1 to 3. Now, there's a caveat here. I use this column just to double check. This is a conservative max projection. If this isn't greater than 2, that automatically drops down this minimum to 0. Because remember, I want 2 points, a 2-point buffer between the minimum and the maximum. Well, if the conservative maximum projection is less than 2, then my minimum, no matter what, is 0. I don't have to have a conservative minimum. I don't have to have a radical minimum. It's just 0. So now this bucket reads 0 to 3. Which means each of the buckets that played last week, minus those that top 20'd, I'm projecting 0, like a minimum of 0, to be inside the top 10, which doesn't provide any confidence playing anyone else than golfers who top 20. However, it doesn't say don't play golfers, you know, in the other buckets. That's not what I'm telling you. It's just there's no confidence that comes with it. So again, we're looking at bucket 1 and bucket 6. Bucket 6 are golfers who did not play. That projection's 1 to 4. But we can actually, let's take a look at bucket 1, bucket 5, and bucket 6. So if you are following along with me on the cheat sheet, what you'd want to do is make sure there are no filters applied to your cheat sheet. That way, when we go into last week, we can clear everything and just look at one and get everybody involved that's in the last week 1 bucket. We have all 10K golfers, or all of the 10K golfers are in this bucket. Rory McIlroy, Sam Burns, and Tyrrell Hatton. So we have a last year one, last week one. We have 2 of them, actually, Rory and Sam. Let me do this really quick. Let's go back a couple years and look at some of our 10K golfers. Okay, 2022 we can't use for last year because there wasn't a year before that played. But let's look at our 11K golfers. Okay, so Rory didn't play and he missed the cut the week before. Did we have any other 10K golfers that played? Oh, missed cut. Interesting. 2018, our 11K golfer, he did top 10 the year before, but he missed the cut the week before. Tommy Fleetwood, on the other hand, 10K golfer, did not play the year before, but topped 20 the week before at the Open Championship. These are kind of performance trends that I like to look at sometimes just to see if there's anything that sticks. In 2017, DJ had top 20 the year before, finished 54th the week before. And Charlie Hoffman had not played the year before, but played the week before, top 20. So that's really interesting. We don't see a top 20 and a top 20. We don't see a top 20 from last year and a top 20 from last week from our 11K golfers or our 10K golfers and above. So does that say play Sam or play Tyrrell Hatton now? Because that's one way to look at this. Having a miscut and a top 20 the week before. Did we have that any of these years? Was that a miscut and a top 20 from our... I don't think so. I think it was always the opposite way. We had a miscut and a miscut, but we didn't have a miscut and a top. Okay, so if this was ever a reason to not play one of the 10K golfers, maybe that's it. It's really up to you. I really don't think there's an issue playing a Rory McIlroy or a Sam Burns or even a Tyrrell Hatton. But if there was any doubt that kind of crept into your mind when I was talking about the last year buckets, now I'm probably providing a little bit more when it comes to the last week buckets. By the way, I didn't say anything. If you're just catching this at the last week bucket, I didn't say anything bad about Rory or Sam Burns from the last year buckets. I said you want to play them. But in case you're superstitious and you're like, nah, that doesn't make sense to me. This will give you more ammo into feeling, not as confident. But we also have Matt Fitzpatrick, Shane Lowry, 9K and above, and then it drops to our 8K and below range. Again, we've seen a 10K golfer every single year in the optimal lineup. I don't see it changing this week, although we don't have as many, but in 2017 and 2018, where we had 2 golfers inside the top 10 that were 10K and above, there were only 3 total for each of those years. There's only 3 total this year. So what's to say that we're not going to see 2 inside the top 10? Just how I look at stuff when it comes to lineup building. Plus, these guys are capable, right? Rory McIlroy, best golfer in the field. Sam Burns, arguably top 5 in the field. Tyrrell Hatton up there as well. If not top 5, top 10. So, yeah, I don't have any issue playing any of these guys. Now, the other bucket we want to look at were the last week 5s. These are guys who missed the cut last week. We have Corey Connors, Cam Young, and then 2 Canadians. In Svensson and Hadwin, both Adams, and Nikolai Højgaard, who are in the 8K range. So remember the initial projection was 1 to 3, but then that conservative projection, which just kind of gives us a little cause for concern, really. Where it's like, because I taken the sweet spot score for those buckets, and that's my own model, my own quality of bucket, that was kind of saying, yeah, it's not up to quality as we would like it to be. So it dropped that minimum to 0. So my projection for this bucket are 0 to 3 golfers to finish inside the top 10, which is kind of concerning considering, you know, like I do like Nikolai Højgaard this week, but I could see Corey Connors doing really well this week. So too Cam Young, although he's been struggling. And the Adams, I have no issue playing either of those guys this week. I don't want to play 3 of these guys, although the projection says you can play up to 3. So keep that in mind. If you do like 3 of these guys, by all means do so, because that is what the projection is kind of allowing for. I just don't see it. I don't like it. Anyways, I like Højgaard. This kind of gives me more reason to play Højgaard, especially from the 8K range. Remember, we've always seen a 10 and an 8K golfer in the optimal lineup. I could see it being Højgaard. Could also be any of the Adams here. Maybe not any of these 8K golfers. Maybe you want to choose a 7K golfer here. We'll see. We'll see what the buckets or what the optimizer does. But that would be your last week 5 bucket. The only one to talk about is last week 6, and the projection here was 1 to 4. We have Justin Rose and Tommy Fleetwood. I love both of these guys. I don't know which one I would choose. Again, the projection here is 1 to 4, so you could play them both if you wanted to. We also have some good 8K golfer names. Moronk, Aberg, Nick Taylor, and Michael Kim. We already talked about, I don't know if it's Aberg or Moronk. How about this? I always say this. You know, I'm a big stickler with saying people's names correctly. You can go to the PGA website and just type in their name and how to pronounce it. And of course, Ludwig is not golfer. Yep, I don't have it, so it's not in the. I mean, he's an amateur, so he's not going to show up with all players. Oh wait. There's so many different. Okay, never mind. Skip that. We'll figure it out sometime. I don't know how to say his last name. Could be Aberg, could be Aberg. But anyways, Ludwig. He's in here. Not my favorite guy to select from when it comes to the AK range. I would much rather play Moronk. But again, this projection is 1 to 4 to finish inside the top 10. It could just be literally Justin Rose and Tommy Fleetwood and nobody else. Although this bucket's pretty large, and there's my guy CT Pan. I do like CT Pan this week. Yeah, there's some good names here. Now, there could be more than 4 golfers that do finish inside the top 10 for this bucket. I mean, there's 109 golfers in the bucket. Holy moly, where we only see 85. Yeah, I could see more than 4 being inside the top 10, but for the optimal lineup, probably not. You know, you could have Justin Rose and Tommy Fleetwood. Fleetwood could finish 9th. Rose could finish 2nd, and you'd want Rose in your lineup, but you wouldn't want Tommy Fleetwood for the optimal lineup. You could win a GPP, though, by selecting Rose and Fleetwood, even if one of them is not in the optimal lineup. So you could select both of these guys. You could also put like an Aaron Wise or a Mav McNeely in your lineup. My guy CT Pan down here. You could put these 5 golfers in your lineup. You have a pretty good chance to win a GPP. Now 4 or maybe even 3 of these guys might be the only ones to be in the optimal lineup, though. And again, that's what I'm chasing, is the optimal lineup. So remember all of that when it comes to your lineup building. If you do like more than what I'm projecting to be inside the top 10, that's fine. We saw it last week during the Memorial Tournament, where we had 4 inside one of the buckets, but only 3 finished in the optimal lineup, and the projection was 1 to 3. The bucket was successful because only 3 finished inside the optimal lineup, or were in the optimal lineup, but 4 technically finished inside the top 10. So again, you could win a GPP by not hitting the optimal. So you could select more than the 4 that I'm suggesting at max to play. Again, this bucket's really large, 109. likelihood of more than 4 to be inside the top 10 is probably pretty high, but I'm going to follow the sweet spot process completely, so I won't play more than 4 from this bucket. I already see some names I like. I mean, Matt McNeely is in my my dummy lineup. So too is Justin Rose. So too is CT Pan. Those 3 guys, I already have the 3 that I wanted to select. Just happened naturally, so it works out. Let's move on to the next bucket. Now, I have this as course history, but just a reminder, there's no course history here. It's just tournament history. We're at a different golf course. The PGA Tour has not played this at all since 2013. I don't even know if it's played this golf course ever. But my data goes to 2013. We have not been on this golf course since that time. So it's a brand new golf course. You could actually do away with course history bucket if you wanted to. I'm going to call it tournament history. You can do whatever you want. So we'll call this tournament history. And there really isn't, it doesn't look like there's much of an edge with any of these buckets. Outside of having really good course history or tournament history and not having any at all, everything in between is 0 to 2. So keep that in mind. 0 to 2 for every other bucket in between. But it looks like having good tournament history or no tournament history is the way to go with this event. So let's take a look. And again, if you're following along with me, just make sure all your filters are cleared. We go into the course history bucket, clear that out, select one. Again, I have to remind you, there's no such thing as course history at this event. It's just tournament history, but it's going to show course history buckets. So we go to the course history buckets. Hey, guess what? We have Rory McIlroy and Sam Burns that are in bucket 1 for tournament history. Don't be fooled. Usually when you see the number from last year match the course history, that means they've only played this event once. No, Rory's won it twice. He's won it in both times that he's ever been here, or that he's ever played in the Canadian Open. Sam Burns, on the other hand, he's only played it one time. So just keep that in place when you're thinking about this. And remember, again, the projection is 1 to 3 to be inside the top 10 from this bucket. We only have 10 golfers in this bucket. My guy CT Pan, Justin Rose, and Sam Burns or Rory McIlroy. See, I've already built my lineup. I already know what my lineup is. It was an eyeball test. It already works out with the buckets. I built it before even looking at the buckets, before even constructing any of this. I shouldn't say constructed. It's just putting in the field. It already works out. So here's going to be in the optimal lineup, ladies and gentlemen. It's either Rory or Sam Burns, and either Justin Rose or Tommy Fleetwood, and maybe CT Pan. Maybe not. That's a stretch. But CT Pan, I think, is a super good golfer who's just been injured recently since the Wells Fargo Championship. I like how the guy's been playing. So CT Pan will be in a lot of my lineups. Do with that as you will. You don't have to follow me, but that's my conviction play this week. It's my conviction play this week on a Monday evening. It might change Wednesday night. It might change tomorrow night when I'm doing the live video. Who knows? But I do like CT Pan. This is good to see. Like I've been advocating this whole night, or this whole video, a 10K golfer in either McIlroy or Burns. Just anchor around that and then go from there. But seeing Rose and Fleetwood, who are also golfers I want to build my lineups around, I really, if you want to start with any 4 of these golfers, I think that's just the way to go. I really don't care about ownership. The optimal lineup doesn't care about ownership. So I would rather hit, 2 of these guys or 3 of these guys and be absolutely perfect than worry about ownership. So that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to building these lineups. This is your course history 1. Remember, all the other buckets in between 2, 3, 4, and 5 are 0 to 2. Course history 6. We want somewhere between 1 to 3, I believe. Yeah, 1 to 3. Again, this is tournament history, but I have it set as course history. Again, it's just tournament history. We want 1 to 3. These are golfers who've never played this event since 2013. Matt Fitzpatrick. Is that true? I could be wrong on that. Let me double check. sometimes this information, I was changing Matt Fitzpatrick's name. Is that Matthew? Don't tell me it's Matthew. It's Matthew. Okay, let's update this real quick. By the way, that's just going to improve Matt Fitzpatrick's. So 1085, so it's 4750, but he finished 10th last year. So let me go 2023. He finished 10th. Let me just copy this one. And let me copy this one, but put in 4750. That's going to update the buckets. So now I got to go to my sheet as well. It's just the, oh my God, I hate when it does that. One small update and it just ruins everything. So 10, perfect. I'll use this one, 4750. That will put them in last year bucket 1, which, well, that just adds to that whole convoluted mess. And then it's now course history 3. All right. So that will again update the buckets. And now Fitzpatrick is in bucket 3. Well, hold on. Let's take a look. Bucket 3 is still 0 to 2, although it did update it from, I think this was a 0 to 1.86 or something like that. Here, I can look at the cheat sheet. So course history 3 was 0.82 to 1.37. Now it's been updated to 1.11 to 1.86. So that has updated. This bucket, actually course history 6 now got worse. This is technically, if you look at it, it says 1 to 3. But because the conservative projection is under 2, now it becomes 0 to 3. So this isn't even a bucket that you need to make sure you get a golfer from. Course history 3 kind of bumps up. I'm interested. What did this do to last year buckets? Oh gosh. 1 to 4 now becomes the projection for your last year ones. I think it was just 1 to 3. Yeah, it was 1 to 3. And now it's 1 to 4. So it just bumps it up, just putting more importance on the last year 1 bucket. And even the same amount of importance. Actually, this changes too. Oh, no, it does not. I'm sorry. This is still 2 to 5, the last year 6 bucket. Okay. I know it's getting kind of messy, but we've got it situated. I hate when it does that. Let me just do this really quick also. Nope, I won't do it. I am sorry. I will update your cheat sheet. By the time you listen to this, your cheat sheet is going to be updated with the correct information. But anyways, let's just take a look at course history 6 once again. All the other buckets are 0 to 2, except for the course history 1 bucket. But course history 6 is now 0 to 3 because we just removed Matt Fitzpatrick out of it. We have Cameron Young, Adrian Meronk, Nikolai Højgaard. So this also gives me more confidence playing in Nikolai Højgaard or an Adrian Meronk or even a Ludwig Aberg. Like any of these guys, I still have more confidence in playing because they fit this bucket. And this bucket has shown to be successful. We've seen a minimum of 2. That's one thing to note. A minimum of 2 inside the top 10 every single year. The projection technically is 0 to 3, but a minimum of 2 every year inside the top 10. Now, it's not every year do we have one in the optimal lineup, but we do have one inside the top 5 every single year. So this dates back to 2015, every single year. A golfer who has never played the Canadian Open from 2013 and on, by the way. Has finished. There's been one golfer from that bucket to finish inside the top 10 every single year. And we normally see 46 on average. We have 46 this year. So I think one golfer from this bucket will finish inside the top 10, if not the top 5. And remember, Sam Stevens is out. I'm sure. Yeah, so Sam Stevens is out. Is Luke List here by chance? We might have some more withdrawals from this list. And if that's the case, then I guarantee the bucket goes to 0 to 2. There's just no 0 to 3. Because it's already kind of just barely over that threshold, 2.06. We remove a few more golfers. Let me see. I'm going to do something really quick. Sam Stevens, if I just delete him, what does it go to? 2.04. So just him being removed, not a big difference, but it went from 2.06 to 2.04. So we'll see. We'll see what it looks like when we remove all the withdrawals from here. But the big one, 1 to 3 course history, 1 golfers. Rory was in there. Just to kind of go over that one more time. Again, this is available to you on the cheat sheet. Rory, Burns, Rose, Fleetwood. 9K and above. So those are names to consider anchoring your lineups around. Okay, let's move on to the next bucket, which is our recent form buckets. So does having good recent form matter? Does having bad recent form matter? Well, recent form 1 bucket. This is your best recent form in the field. More often than not, every single year we see around 3. I should say more often than not. Every single year we have around 3. This year we have 3. Our projection is 0 to 2. Almost 100% frequency rate of finishing inside the top 10. Pretty high success rate, by the way. That's a high success rate, 27%. If it was 33% and then we only had 3 golfers, it's almost guaranteeing one of those guys is going to be inside the top 10, just by how math works. But we don't have that this week. It's 27.59%. Success rate projection is 0 to 2. Again, we only have 3, so I mean technically we should just be saying 0 to 1. If you're following along with me on the cheat sheet, make sure you clear out all your filters and select 1 for recent form bucket. Tyrrell Hatton, Justin Rose, and Peter Keist, or Keist, or Hust. I think it's Peter Quest. I think it's Quest. Yeah, I wasn't on Tyrrell Hatton. Obviously, I don't mind playing a 10K golfer this week, and we've went over some buckets that Tyrrell Hatton was a part of that you wanted to play. I just like Justin Rose that much more now. I just see myself building a bunch of Sam Burns, Rose lineups, or Rory McIlroy, Rose lineups, and just going from there. Again, Tyrrell Hatton will be one of those other buckets that I'll consider, or not buckets, one of those other players that I'll consider, but that's going to be more in winner take all contests. He will not be in my GPP lineups, and I'm sure he won't be in most people, but that's fine. I'm chasing the optimal lineup. I don't care about ownership. So yeah, I think it's just Rose for me. Quest, I don't really care for. You also don't need to select a golfer from this bucket. However, again, the success rate's pretty high that the likelihood we see at least one is pretty close to being 100%. So keep that in mind. The next bucket, the next 2 buckets really, it's 1 to 4 in each of these. There's one thing I remember looking at this before recording was Rory McIlroy. If I scroll over to his recent form, that last bucket that we were looking at, recent form 1s, is 20 and below. So this is 20.33. He doesn't qualify for 20 and below. This is 20.33. So he is in bucket 2. He could easily be in bucket 1, but he's not. Let's do a quick thing. I can just manipulate this data. Let's just make this 20. Or how about this? So it's 20.33. Let's go 19.33. It'll help me remember. If I go to the summary now, it doesn't change at all. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I think I need to change this as well. There we go. It almost pushes it to over 2. This technically would still be 0 to 2, but this is pretty darn close. Let me go ahead and change everything back to 20.33. Perfect. So anyways, Rory's not in that bucket. He's instead in recent form 2. And this bucket's to play 1 to 4 golfers from here. So there are a lot of expensive golfers, 9K and above, like Fitzpatrick, Connors, Fleetwood, Lowry, Maronk, Bramlett, Michael Kim, Vincent Norman, Chad Ramey. Man. I don't know. I think it's just, for me, it's just Rory, and that's it. Like, I'll build some Rory Rose lineups. I'll build some Rory Fleetwood lineups. I'll include Maronk in some of my lineups. You know, I'll have Nikolai Højgaard and Adrian Maronk. Interesting. Yeah, it makes lineup building a little bit more interesting this week. Okay, so I think the names that I'm highlighting here are Rory, Tommy, and Adrian Maronk. We'll see if it works out, but those are the golfers that I'm liking out of this bucket. The next bucket underneath it, the recent form 3s, the projection's 1 to 4 as well. And guess what? We've got Sam Burns here, which obviously we're talking about, or at least I was talking about liking Sam Burns or Rory McIlroy. So now I still have to make the choice. A few more golfers in this bucket. I do like Keith Mitchell this week. There's my guy, Nikolai Højgaard. So that's awesome to see him here. Who else do we see in this bucket that I might... Oh, CT Pan is here. Look at that. I mean, it's already shaping up to be... My dummy lineup is the optimal lineup. Easy. This week is easy. On to next week, right? Interesting. Okay. A lot of names to look at. The names that I'm going to highlight are the ones I just did. Burns, Mitchell, Højgaard, CT Pan. That's about it. Those are my favorite plays. Just by doing a quick scan. Like Carson Young is fringe. I don't mind that, and I don't mind the 2 Adams in the 8K range. And what I mean by fringe is like it's close to being like a highlight play. Like I would highlight him to say, hey, Carson Young, great play him. But I like CT Pan a little bit more than I like Carson Young. We still have another bucket to talk about. Recent form 4s. 1 to 3 is the projection out of this bucket. 1 to 3. Cam Young, and then it drops into the 7K range and below. So focusing on this bucket might not be the best thing, but if you already have a name, like again, my dummy lineup has Maverick McNeely in it. I also don't mind playing Aaron Wise. I like Aaron Wise this week as well. Probably staying away from Cam Young. I think that's a full fade for me now. Now that I see some of these buckets and obviously knowing he's been struggling as of late, that might be a full fade for me. And what I mean by that, there's no golfers truly a full fade. He's just going to be in a winner take all to get me my entry fees back. I'll put in about $120 worth of entry fees this week. I'll have him in enough winner take alls to get me $150 back. So that's what I mean by that. But that'll be like 2 lineups out of 130 or 140 lineups. He'll be in 2 or 3 lineups. That's it. So yeah, I'm just liking it. These golfers a little bit more than playing Cam Young this week. Yeah, there's no one else to talk about. I'm not going to highlight anyone else. That's basically all that I have. I bet you Vince Whaley has course history, by the way. That's another Vincent to Vince. PGA Tour just updates names, and you got to figure it out somewhere down the road. So I got to update that as well. I do know he has course history. Why don't we just take a look? What's his name? Or what's Whaley? Is there another Whaley? Not all sheets. I'm sorry. Eight out of 9 instances. Okay. Yep. There's 6. There's 7. And 8, 9. Okay. So just that 35th place finish. So he's going to be in bucket 3. Or bucket 2. My apologies. Bucket 2. I'll make that update as well. I'm not going to do it right now. But anyways, that is going to cover the recent form buckets because we don't need to talk about the other ones. The other two are 0 to 2. So keep that in mind. Let's briefly talk about salaries. We did this pretty extensively during the pass optimal and GPP lineups. Look at this. 10K range, salary bucket 1, which is your 10K range. I'm projecting 1 to 3 to be inside the top 10. There are only 3. So there's a high likelihood, and look at this, minimum of 2 being inside the top 10 every single year. There's always been 1 in the optimal lineup. There's always been 1 inside the top 5. Yeah, I don't mind starting with the 10K range. The 9K range seems a bit ridiculous. This is the highest I've ever seen a projection in either the 8K range and above, like 2 to 4 9K golfers. So now we really have like a interesting scenario here. 4 9K golfers. So you could pick up to 4. That's not true. I'm sorry. That's one thing you got to understand. So let me go back to the DraftKings page. You guys can follow along with me on the cheat sheet. Just make sure there's no filters and make sure we're sorted salaries top to bottom. How many 9K golfers do we have? 8. And yeah, all the numbers are the same. So here's the thing. We can forecast what this leaderboard could look like. We could have Rory or Sam Burns in the number 1 position. We could also have one of them in the number 4 position. Let's just do that. One of these guys finishes first. One of these guys finishes 4th. Just by that alone, that automatically eliminates there being 2 9K golfers in the optimal lineup or more. So if there's one of those 10K golfers inside or inside the top 5, I think it eliminates 2 9K golfers being in the optimal lineup. If you want to kind of go against the grain there, then don't play Rory or Sam Burns and instead anchor around 2 or 3 9K golfers. Probably would just say stick with 2, but you could go up to 3. However, how I look at it is I think one of these guys finishes 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, and the other guy finishes 4th, 5th, or 6th. And if that's the case, it automatically, to me, eliminates 2 or more 9K golfers to be inside the optimal lineup. That's not to say 2 or more 9K golfers can't finish inside the top 10, because you could have still 4 9K golfers finish inside the top 10 with 2 of these guys finishing inside the top 5. And you could still win money playing 3 or more of these guys in the 9K range. Does that make sense? So it's really like it. The world's your oyster. You can literally decide, where do you want to start? Are you going to start in the 9K range or are you going to start in the 10K range? It just makes me like the building possibilities of Sam Burns and Justin Rose, or Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose, or Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood, or Sam Burns and Tommy Fleetwood. Those are like the only combinations I'm really looking at. When it comes to the other buckets, 0 to 2 8K golfers, 1 to 3 7K golfers, and then 6K range. Normally we see this over 1, by the way, the max projection for top 6K golfers or high 6K golfers. 0 to 1. It's really 0 to 2. Remember, 2 is always your minimum. And 0 to 2 low 6Ks. I tend to think don't play more than 3 6K golfers, or don't play 3 or more 6K golfers. Just stick to 2 or less. And always start 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. But again, we could have 2 6Ks. Last year, 3 6Ks were in the optimal lineup. So that's what we have with salaries. The last bucket to talk about are strokes gained buckets. And this is really interesting. I have looked, as I was updating this, I had what I saw in the buckets. So I come to this page and I update every single year the totals from last year. This is the engine. I know as I scroll through this, your eyes might be going crisscross and you're just seeing the same thing. But I have last year and last week buckets in these columns here. We have top 5 finishes, top 10 finishes, top 20 finishes, so on and so forth. All optimal lineups are at the bottom. And then I have course history and recent form. I also have salaries. And the last bucket, or the last engine piece, are the buckets for strokes gained. This is what I saw right away when I updated this. Every single year, we have seen at least 4 strokes gained 1 golfers inside the top 10 every single year that I've had strokes gained stats. This starts in 2019 because I didn't have it for 2018 or 2017. We didn't play in 2020 or 2021. And then last year we had 4. So you might be thinking, okay, well, how many golfers were in each of those buckets? 5 and 9, respectively. That's nearly 50%. And if I go back to the summary, you're going to see I pull from this table here, 57% success rate, 100% frequency rate. Go back to the summary, 57% success rate, 100% frequency rate, at least 4 every single year. And I'm projecting 2 to 4 this year. To be inside the top 10, by the way, optimal lineup is a little bit different. 1 to 2 is what we have seen. So if you're following along with me on the cheat sheet, all you got to do is sort from top to bottom, and that's where we get our strokes gained stats. When we see this, do we really think 4 golfers from this bucket are going to be inside the top 10? I would probably argue not. However, if that's the case, who would they be? I think the first thing you think about is Rory. And then automatically our brain goes, well, how can we build a lineup with 3 of the other guys? Well, you can't. You may only be able to select one other one, which is fine because look at this. Again, optimal lineup. We've never seen more than 2 from this bucket in the optimal lineup, although we've seen up to 4 inside the top 10. So that's where you got to pump the brakes. When you see this number here, go, oh my God, there's been at least 4? Well, yeah, but not more than 2 in the optimal lineup. 3 though inside the top 5. So it's like, okay, is it Rory or Tyrrell? And if it's not Rory and it's not Tyrrell, could it be Fitzpatrick or Fleetwood? Because you could fit in Adam Hadwin, Adam Svensson, or Cam Percy to mix in with one of those 9 or 10K golfers. This is where it becomes really interesting. I mean, I think I start Rory regardless. But as I've been wanting to use Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood might be the 9K golfer I want to play. Or I fit in like an Adam Hadwin or an Adam Svensson. Again, 1 to 2 have been in the optimal lineup every year. If you start Rory, I don't think you can play it. You can only play 1 other guy from this bucket, and that's it. I don't think you can play two guys from this bucket. It becomes too expensive. Unless you're including Cam Percy, which I don't recommend. But I just wanted to point that out. That was every week I kind of like look at the buckets, I kind of look at the stats, and I try to figure out what's the most common trend, like performance trend that we've seen. And this was probably the biggest one, strokes gained 1 bucket. So I think automatically it gives me the green light to play Rory. If you're a contrarian, it gives you the green light to play Tyrrell Hatton or Matt Fitzpatrick or the Adams, basically. I don't think we got to worry about Cam Percy, but hey, you could consider playing him this week. Strokes gained 2, 0 to 2. If you didn't see that, that was Sam Burns' bucket with Keith Mitchell, which is really interesting, actually, now that you think about it. If this bucket's truly 0 to 2, which is what I have, yeah, 0 to 2 is the projection out of this bucket to finish inside the top 10. There are a lot of good names. Burns, Højgaard, I like Wise, I like Moronk, I like Mitchell. Let's do it a different way. I like him, I like him, I like him, him, and him. So I've highlighted 5 names. Sam Burns, Keith Mitchell, Adrian Moronk, Nikolai Højgaard, and Aaron Wise. We're supposed to limit that to 2. That's difficult. I think it probably gives us... here's how I kind of look at this. I mean, do we start like Rory? Like if we're going to start with Rory, do we go Rory? Maybe consider Hadwin or Svensson. Maybe play like Højgaard or Meronk to go with Svensson and Hadwin. So we could go like 11, 8, 8, 8, something like that. And then maybe fit in like an Aaron Wise. I have $1,300 left. So we're $1,300 or $13,600 left. That would mean I could put a 6K golfer and another 7K golfer in there. So it's doable. I'm hitting my maximum of 2 from this bucket. See, this is what the optimizer is going to probably provide us. This will be really interesting to see how it builds its lineups. Or you start with Sam Burns and maybe you include Tommy Fleetwood as the one guy here and maybe one of the Adams and maybe Aaron Wise. This also leaves us with $13,000. This leaves us with $13,400. Interesting. Yep, lineup building tomorrow in the strategy video is going to be a lot of fun. Okay. Next bucket also is 0 to 2. That's strokes gained 3. We have 41 golfers in that bucket, so we're not going to spend a lot of time looking at this, but your top guys are Corey Connor, Shane Lowry, Cam Young. Those are your 9K and above guys, and then a bunch of 8K golfers and 7K golfers, or not a bunch of 8. One 8K and a bunch of 7K golfers and 6K golfers. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fill-in pieces. I don't have anyone to really talk about here. I don't like anybody. Like, I don't want to highlight anybody. No one's of that value for me to highlight. Strokes gained 4. Actually, this is a bucket to really look into. 1 to 3 is the projection. So we want to at least select one. Well, there's Justin Rose. Okay, cool. And Maverick McNeely. I like that. So I already have names that I like in this bucket. And those are the 2. Those are the 2 highlightable ones that I want to highlight. I also don't mind playing some of these other guys. Mackenzie Hughes, Mark Hubbard, Eric Cole, Thigala. I don't mind any of those guys. Some of these other guys down here, I also don't mind playing either. So there's that. Strokes gained 5, 0 to 2 there, and 0 to 2 out of strokes gained 6. So nothing really nothing really noteworthy. But of course, I have to highlight my guy CT Pan because that's the guy I want to play from the strokes gained 5. Snedeker, by the way, don't sleep on him. Just came back from a chest surgery and made the cut at the Memorial Tournament, which is pretty remarkable. So I like that. I like that from him. And I'm probably not going to touch any of these 6K golfers. So that's all that I have for you. Kept it under 2 hours, which is pretty on brand. Around 2 hours for these preview videos. If you didn't see the giveaways, I provided those. I'm on a different. Okay, let me do this. If you didn't see the giveaways earlier, they can be found at the beginning of the video where the timestamp says giveaways. If you want to participate going forward, just be subscribed and participate on the channel. You can get yourself into the weekly giveaways that I do every Monday night, and as well as the monthly giveaway that I do at the first Monday of every month. So be subscribed and participate. You get entries for every video you comment on. Those entries go towards these giveaways. So go check out, see if your name was called. I think it was Jim Lemoyne and Gabriel Brown. You're not on Prize Picks yet. I have a link in the description below that'll get you to the homepage. If you go sign up, this promo code SweetSpot will already be populated. And if you put $20 in your account, I will give you $20 back. So you get to play this for free, plus Prize Picks will match your deposit. So then it goes up to $40. You'll have $40 in your account, and every Friday is a free play. You can put up to $20 into your account. If you don't win anything, Prize Picks will refund your $20. It's just, you get a free lotto ticket every single week. And that's it. There's a cheat sheet available. Hopefully you're following along with me. I'll have the optimizer ready tomorrow. But that's all that I have for you this week. So thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.